Hello Internet, I'm Jackie Fox. We're here to talk about War Divisions today and building an interesting anti-magic offensive team. Now I want to stress that this is, while it could work on defense, I would say that Summer Kilphe is not a unit that I would really want to see on a defensive team. If you see one on someone else's defensive team, just attack it with like piercing or missile or detonation blast or any of that stuff and you should be fine. But let's look at some arena testing that I was doing on an offense team for Guild Wars. And this is my level 115 Summer Kilphe showcase. So what have I picked up since the level 89 review? Well, the regen and I believe it was like an AP decrease on Frostwind Axe, that is really beneficial. I'm surprised how often you can get Frostbite to trigger on enemy Tidus's. But yeah, that's working out pretty well. I also really like the increase to Spirit Ward Mastery. Just like I thought I would, that magic attack bonus really stacks the resistances very nicely. To the point where you can definitely tank a lot of magic very well just off of that. I'm hoping that her HP gets a little bit bigger by 120. The regen and the fact that she likes to use that Frostwind Axe really early every fight and just walk around with regen is helping her lower HP. Also, the Solidus Vision card is helping her lower HP, but she is still prone to being one-shot by strong physical units. Even Slash, she doesn't resist it that well, but she's potentially negative in some of those other physical slots. So I am of two minds for Yuna. Either hate down Yuna or Moon Hat ultimate buffer Yuna. I like the way that the ultimate buffer Yuna sets up, and with this particular team, one thing I noticed is that with the Moon Hat, you have this, you have the ability to set up this chain that lasts for a while, and ultimately ends up with Spirit Ward Mastery on King Mont. Now, King Mont is at high faith because he is essentially, a lot of his, like his stun attack, Stun Blade, and what is the other one? Fangs of Leonis with Disable. At higher faith against mages, those are almost always going to land. You are just constantly going to be taking units out of the fight, and that helps you win tempo. Berserking a whole enemy team is amazing with his like spirit, father-son Kamehameha type deal, Spirit Bomb, Limit Break that just pisses the whole enemy team off when it hits them, if they survive. But I really like the way that the buffing works on this one a bit better. It's always interesting to me the way that Yuna can kind of hop after this. Like Re-Raise, Lunaverve, I'm just going to stand here in the middle of you, playing leapfrog with my units. Now, I like Dark Witch Helena on 3 if I'm on offense, because it's easy to isolate her over there, and it's easy to get a couple units to chain on her over there, especially if your buffing leads them to bunch up at one side. Now, unfortunately in this one, I didn't get Spirit Ward Mastery off. A little bit of a rush and a little bit of hate actually seems to have messed that up for me, but I did get this stun. So I'm actually considering running Summer Kilphe at even higher faith. I think I'm getting up to like 65 now, because especially with Spirit Ward Mastery, she's really good against most magic attacks. Having higher faith is only going to mean that things like Frostbite can hit even the odd physical unit that you know, a lot of her status abilities, because I think that she has the potential to be a little bit more like King Mont in that respect. And it would be really interesting to just basically hunt down all the high faith teams that I can, essentially, and use that as a way to violate them for just dropping statuses on. I mean, can you imagine, what is it? Let's see, it would be slow. I think Kilphe can paralyze, potentially. Frostbite. Mont can disable. Stun. Berserk. So, I mean, whoo, boy. Can you imagine mages and status heavy teams that are trying to do kind of the same thing? Like, EX Agrius is going to be fun. That's all I'm going to say. But this is actually a really fun team to run on offense, because it's so satisfying to be able to consistently take down the two of the most annoyingly constantly in the meta units, Yuna and Helmom. Just so consistently. Now, I think we can pull it off in this round, because they're staying back a little bit more. So we get the Revitalize, he kind of runs forward, and he's going to put himself closer to her than the enemy, so she'll set up with an additional buff on him, and now he should be able to tank magic really well as well. Because, like, Spirit Ward Mastery is so good at letting you resist most of the magic meta that, like, just that itself can make you a magic tank as long as you can get the hate. So getting that on King Mont is amazing setup wise. So I feel pretty confident with this, but what I will say is that I think that there are ways that I have seen to get this to work in Guild Wars, except without running the Moon Hat on Yuna, because I think this team might be a little bit more stable with a hate down, high movement Yuna that can, you know, quickly move where she's needed on the battlefield. I thought this team was kind of interesting because they had slot 2-3 Yuna Helena, which I don't see a lot. The isolated Yuna should re-raise herself, so I'm thinking maybe if we can break down a chain of 3 or a chain of 2 on her, we ought to be able to take her down for good. And my team tends to scoot over to that side, so we tend to kind of be in a good place to chain on the person if they come down 3 prematurely. Looks like they're kind of staying back to buff, self-haste. It's going to give us time to... Oh, here we go. So they did do it, even without the Lunaverb setup. Oh, Space Chicken, Quetzalcoatl. Probably pronouncing that wrong. Oh well. Alright, and the Mont Bomb! And see, it berserked both of them. Kind of irrelevant on Gilgamesh because I also killed him, but it set up the chain for Lupine Rend to get up to that chain 2, and that bonus damage was just too much for Helena to handle. So now we just have a Yuna with weakened healing powers, and oh, nope, she's chained out of the game. Re-raise. Just one more, and instant speed answer. So not even going to give her time to cast that, potentially heal, even with her healing power down. Best to just end the fight there. Alright, that was round 1. Let's see what we can get in round 2 of Guild Wars today. Also, if you appreciate taking deep looks at these teams and team buildings like this, feel free to send me some money for polls, for coffee, for whatever at the links you're going to be seeing on the screen. So, as you can see, they still set up pretty well. Yuna kind of gets in the same place that she would with the Moon Hat, even without it in round 2. So that's nice. Alright, so Mont's gonna charge in with hate and pick up the buff. Alright, let's see what Eternal Pain does. Oh, not much. I mean, most of that damage was already there, remember? That did about 1,000. Remember when that was like the heavy hitting limit break in the game? My word. Alright, well that was a level 99 unit, so that wasn't too big of a in that. Did land the Frostbite though. If she had survived that, she would have done it without any AP. Or at least like one more ability. Unfortunately, you don't run High Faith on El Sorel, so that's not good for a full life. But we do have the re-raise and guaranteed to hit takedown. Yes, Yuna got this one. Alright, thank you for listening, thank you for watching, and I hope you think about some of this when you're building offense teams, because with offense teams it pays to be specific, whereas with defense teams sometimes it pays to be a bit more general so that people can't single you out, or so that you have a build that's a little bit unexpected in terms of VCs for what they think you're gonna do based on your units. But it helps to build a really specific team on offense and hunt a very exact thing, which is what this team does so incredibly well, especially if it's Yuna on slot 1, something like a tank in slot 2, and Hellmom all by herself in slot 3. That is amazing, because usually Hellmom gets out in front, takes some chaining, draws in some hate from my team, gets chained on, taken out of the game early before anybody can do anything. Yuna's rushing in to try to heal her or something, and also getting wailed on by the whole team. So it's a good scene for me, but that is usually a very bad scene for most people, and that setup is actually really troublesome for a lot of people. It can cause problems. So it's best to build specific on offense and build more general on defense, which is why Summer Kilphe is a great offensive unit, because she does one very specific offensive thing very, very well and isn't necessarily a good defender. And that's why 9S is such a really interesting defensive unit, because whether you're going up against magic or whether you're going up against physical, he can break them down equally well and he can protect you from them equally well. So, things to think about. Thanks for watching.